Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Quite a bit of rain headed in our direction. It's going to be here tomorrow, but will we get it out of here for the holiday weekend?
A terrible car crash in Dearborn where a few people passed away, and this is the damage left behind. The police chief says there's an ongoing issue behind the reason that this crash happened.
But we're going to begin with Governor Whitmer now saying her campaign is going to pay for that private jet trip to Florida, and it's not cheap.
There are multiple new developments tonight, including how the governor's trip is going to be paid for.
The total tab is $27,521 for the round-trip flight. Our Rod Maloney following the story amid a very big question. Is it legal for her campaign to pay for it, Rod?
Well, that's a matter of opinion, Devin, and right here, it's hard to see, but we'll put it up on clickondetroit.com. But this is the letter that was sent by the governor's office, actually her attorney, to the House Oversight Committee. Now, the chairman, Representative Steve Johnson, had asked a lot of questions about the governor's trip, and so this letter spells it all out. And this is what we found, and also asked an expert, an ethics expert, on whether this is a proper expenditure. The governor's office today saying the governor flew on this jet belonging to Air Eagle, ferried her daughters back from Florida with her. The governor's security detail also on the plane, and the trip is now going to be paid for not from her transition account, as had been the account just a week ago, but from her campaign account because the governor used the jet because of security concerns. The governor today said of the situation,
I think that everything is in that. We made a good faith effort to reply to the chairman's questions. I think that, if you've read the letter, you'll see that we, in large part, were able to respond and answer everything, and everything was done according to the law. We followed all the ethics rules. We wanted to be very clear, and that's precisely what I think that letter represents.
Still, the question remains, can the governor use campaign funds in this fashion? Attorney Michael Schwartz has taught campaign ethics at Wayne State University and the University of Detroit, and he doesn't think this is proper.
An incidental expense means an expenditure that is an ordinary and necessary expense paid or incurred in carrying out the business of an elective office. Well, it's not the business of an elective office to go on a trip to see family or to do other things which are not part of the job of being a governor. And when she does that, she can't simply say, okay, I want to take campaign finance expenses that donors put in. I've got to put it out of my own pocket.
Now, Schwartz is citing 169.209 of Michigan campaign finance law. And the Clark Hill attorneys representing the governor said to Representative Johnson that they believe because the governor needed security and it wasn't practical to fly commercial, that she needed to have a private jet, that this is an actual incidental expenditure. So we're going to have to see where all of this comes out. But they're saying that because she has threats against her life, she had to fly on the jet, and therefore everything is good. They sent that $27,521 to the Air Eagle owners, PVS Chemicals, and they say that that settles the issue with the FAA and the whole question of whether the old method of payment being a problem because it wasn't a chartered company now goes away. Back to you.
Yeah. All right. In fact, PBS saying they will not allow politicians to fly on their planes anymore. They announced that today. All right, Rod. We'll continue to follow developments on that. Another other piece of news today, another Metro Detroit man has been charged now with storming the U.S. Capitol on January 6th.
Anthony Michael Puma from Brownstown Township is accused of scaling a wall and getting into the building through a window during the insurrection. Federal investigators say he was live streaming that attack, later posted photos of himself in Washington, D.C. on that day. He's also accused of posting about an oncoming war, saying he may have to kill people to #StopTheSteal. Puma is now the 9th Michigander to face federal charges in connection to the insurrection. 2
women were killed, a third in critical condition after a horrible crash in Dearborn overnight. The minivan the women were in slammed into a building and then flipped over. As Nick Monticelli reports, investigators say it happened due to speed and reckless driving.
Afaf Ahmad is one of the few who saw close up just how bad this crash really was. It happened just before 1 o'clock this morning on Schaefer north of Michigan Avenue. 3 women were inside when the van crashed into the building, rolled, then hit a tree. That part was caught on camera.
My condolences to the family, because this is hurtful. And imagine you get the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning that your child, for example, severe damage or severe injured, or that this is, you don't want, no parent would love to hear this news. And then because you can rebuild a building, you can fix those damage, but a human being, you cannot bring them back.
Dearborn Police Chief Ron Haddad says reckless driving and speed is definitely to blame.
People are just speeding through our streets at a real high rate, and the outcome is never going to be good. So the lesson here should be that slow down. And I don't know, it just seems like people are agitated, anxious, and they're driving awfully quick.
Now, of course, the loss of life is the most important part of the story, but what happened to the building is the second part, the structural damage, how much work has to be done, and what they actually do inside. The minivan hit 2 businesses, the most damage, and an education center.
They mentor and tutor kids in the evening hours after school to try to, raise their grades up, and they do, assimilation with language barriers, etc.
The second business, What's Up Media, an Arab media service. The owner says he is glad neither business was open.
We're sorry for the lives that were lost, but it could have been worse if the timing was different, if more people were involved in it. So we're glad this is just what happened.
The definition of an accident is an unintended event. No one means to get into an accident, but again, human behavior contributes to the accident.
In Dearborn, Nick Monticelli, Local 4.
All right, Nick. Well, what a difference today. Much cooler, and of course, it's just in time as we make our way into the holiday weekend.
Always happens, right,
Yes.
around this time. Let's get over to Ben. The clouds have been building in steadily through the day, Ben.
Yeah, Karen and Devin, if we are expecting rain tomorrow, so whether you're getting an early start on the holiday weekend or you still got to go to work tomorrow, the drive in the morning is not going to be fun. You can see all that rain that's over on the other side of the lake. This stuff should stay to the north of us. In fact, I don't know that a lot of this is even reaching the ground. With some radar outages there. But the other thing that's on the other side of the lake is even colder air. It looked nice today, but upper 60s to around 70 was as good as we got. 40s, Milwaukee at 47, Green Bay at 43, and look at that temperature in Marquette. Barely above freezing now. 36 in the afternoon in late May there in the UP. Here are the temperatures over the holiday weekend. 64 Saturday. We do get back to the 70s on Sunday and Monday. We're expecting a mostly dry forecast for these 3 days, but we'll talk about chances here and time out that stuff for tomorrow in just a few minutes. Guys?
All right, Ben. More encouraging signs when it comes to the coronavirus numbers. 542 new cases reported over the past 24 hours. So that makes it the 5th straight day below 1,000, but it's also the lowest daily count that we've seen since going back to September. State is also reporting, though, 59 more deaths, which includes 48 from a review of past vital records.
And as of today, 10.9 million doses of the coronavirus vaccine have been distributed here in Michigan. 8.2 million of those doses have been administered. And the statewide vaccination rate took a bit of a jump in the past day. It is up 0.4% to 58.5%.
5 months after Moderna's vaccine was granted emergency use authorization, and just days after announcing it would be seeking authorization for use in teens between 12 and 17, Moderna is moving to another milestone.
Today, Henry Ford Health System announced it would begin local enrollment for Moderna's evaluation of the vaccine in children from 6 months to 11 years. Dr. Frank McGeorge joins us with details. Frank?
Hey, Karen and Devin. Yeah, so this study named KidCove is actually the 4th COVID-19 vaccine trial that Henry Ford has been a study site for. Previously, Henry Ford was a phase 3 study site and the only Michigan site for Moderna's 2-dose adult vaccine, as well as for Johnson & Johnson's Ensemble 1-dose and Ensemble 2 2-dose adult vaccine.
So the objective of the study is to evaluate the safety and efficacy of Moderna's messenger RNA 1273 vaccine to determine which is the safest and most effective dose for these children to protect them against COVID-19.
That's Dr. Tisa Johnson-Hooper, the interim chair of pediatrics at Henry Ford. The study is evaluating the same vaccine already in use in adults, but now for children between 6 months through 11 years old. The current question is, what's the best dose?
In the first phase, families will know that their child is getting the vaccine when you're looking at dose efficacy of 3 different doses.
To participate in the trial, kids should be between 6 months and less than 12 years old, not have a positive COVID test or exposure to COVID within 2 weeks before their first vaccination, and not have received any other vaccine or treatment for COVID-19. The study will last approximately 14 months and includes phone calls, telemedicine visits, and up to 7 visits to the study site.
As a pediatrician, I am so anxious to get children vaccinated. This study is pivotal, and it's important because kids just really do want their lives back, and I really do think this is one step closer.
Now, Henry Ford Health System is the only trial site evaluating the Moderna vaccine for kids in the state of Michigan. Now, after this phase, looking at the optimal dose, is complete, there's going to be a randomized placebo-controlled phase to actually evaluate the efficacy of the vaccine.
There's so much to think about, especially as a parent here, Doc. So I want to talk about comparison. The original studies for emergency use authorization, they had tens of thousands of people in that. So how large is this study?
Well, Karen, the studies in kids are smaller. In fact, the Teen Cove study that recently reported some results from Moderna's efficacy in teens had roughly 3,700 people. This current study, the Kid Cove study, is actually planned to have about 6,700 kids, double the Teen Cove study. So we're really encouraging interested parents to enroll their kids.
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you, Doc.
Troy Medical Center making a change to its visitor policy. In fact, it's effective immediately. One support person, 15 years of age or older, will be allowed to visit non-COVID patients. Visitors will be checked for COVID symptoms. They have to wear a mask. The visitation policy at DMC Children's Hospital of Michigan and the DMC Rehabilitation Institute, though, of Michigan has not yet changed.
Tommy Hank has been digging into missing mail all over Metro Detroit.
Now he sits down one-on-one with Michigan's Attorney General about what's being done to help deliver those letters and packages. Also, how a domestic violence call in Novi led to the bomb squad scrambling to get to the scene. Victor.
An elderly couple is scammed out of over $100,000. Coming up, hear the warning from police if you get the same phone call.